Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online PTS test video with me, Sherman. Today guys, I'm just looking at the Nightblade healer today and gonna show you guys some of the capabilities of the Nightblade healer with some of the new changes that are coming through with update 23 and the combat changes, and how this is gonna affect a lot of players in the game, because a lot of people like diversity in the game. So I am going to go into a little bit more detail this time when it comes to putting together the character, what sets I'm using, why I'm using those sets, and how it works good in this combination and why it works so good. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the changes to skills within the Nightblade class, the restoration staff and things like that. So if you guys didn't know, every skill in the game got touched pretty much, or got looked at with Elsewhere and this update, update 23, and the Scale Breaker, which is on PTS. And a lot of these changes do affect a lot of different things. But let's talk about some of the changes that are happening to the Nightblade with abilities like Sap Essence. So Sap Essence now does the same thing it did before. It works a little bit better, I'm not gonna lie. It's actually a pretty powerful heal if you can, when you have it working in a group dynamic and everything like that. So I do want to admit that the changes to Sap Essence are really good. I don't like the fact that they made the other morph give brutality and they took away from the sorcery aspect from it. That kind of bothers me, but I do like the way this one works. So the other change I want to talk about, or other things that I want to talk about within the healer line here on the Nightblade, is funnel health. A lot of people think that this is a bad skill still because it doesn't heal for much. It actually can heal for a lot if you build it properly. It can heal really good and really effectively, and yeah, I'll be showing you guys that. Another ability that I use in this build is Debilitate. I was trying out Healthy Offerings with the 8% healing done, but I realized that it just doesn't fit too well into the concept of this build, so it just didn't work that well. I still use Leeching Strikes, and if you look at the skills I'm actually running on the Mar, I'm running Illustrious Healing. This heal over time is just crazy good. I know a lot of people don't like that it does heal for 12 seconds now in an 8-meter radius, that kind of thing, but it actually heals really good. The other thing is Refreshing Path now has a kind of a better setup than it did before. It still works the same, but the reason I say a better setup is because it does heal for a little bit more than it did in the past. Combat Prayer, of course, everyone knows most healers are going to be running this. I am using Mirage. And the reason I'm using Mirage is this will activate the buff from Assassination for the group that'll increase everybody's weapon critical. So I use it for that purpose, to give everybody increased weapon critical. But it does give you Minor Ward, Minor Resolve, and it gives you Major Evasion. So it gives you a little bit more spell and physical resist. On top of that, it gives you that greater like damage mitigation for when you're healing inside of dungeons or even trials. I am using Leeching Strengths. This is to keep my resource management intact. Honestly, after testing this, I don't really need it, but I do need a Siphon ability on the back bar. One thing that you can swap out to on the back bar, if you wanted to, you could switch out to Healthy Offerings. This would actually improve the capabilities of this character as a healer, because you don't really need siphoning attacks. You have no resource issues whatsoever. Alright, moving on to the front bar where I have my Lightning Staff. And I'm just showing you the skills I have active. I'm not showing the ultimates. So I'm using Funnel Health, Blockade of Storms, Debilitate, Sap Essence, and I am using the Mystic Orb. I'm not using Energy Orb. I know a lot of people would want a healer running an Energy Orb because it does the heal over time, but Energy Orb and Magic Orb or Mystic Orb do the same thing. They have different synergies. This one applies damage. This is going to be better than the Energy Orb for you, and the reason I say it's going to be better is because anything you can do to help your group, not only with resource management, things like that, or to give them those resources. It's also to help them with damage. You already have enough heal over time going on that you don't need any more. Alright, so those are the skills that I'm running primarily, and I am going to take this into one of the newer dungeons to show you its effectiveness and everything and how it plays with its sets. Now, looking at the sets we are running, we are using the Bogdan's Night Flame set, or Night Flame set with this. This adds a 1-piece Magicka bonus on the 1-piece. The 2-piece, when you heal a friendly target, you have a 10% chance to summon a totem for 6 seconds that heals you and your allies within 5 meters for X amount of health every second. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Now, I am going to show you guys this because I'm going to swap bars because the healing will go down. Isn't that weird? And that's because it's affected by certain passes and things that you have on your character that amplify the healing done. So, the next set I'm using is Combat Physician. I am a big advocate in this game for diversity. I'm not a person that plays to the meta standards. And I really think that this set plays so well with the Nightblade, it's not even funny. Because it is one of the only classes in the game besides the Templar that can take advantage of the set effectively. Okay? Sort can take advantage of it to some degree. DKs can take advantage of it to some degree. But it works best on the Nightblade and the Templar. I don't know why, it just does. The same thing goes with Bogdan. Bogdan works really good on Nightblades because they get a lot of heal over time built into them. So that chance of proccing the set is more effective on Nightblades. It's still effective on Templars because they also have a really good heal over time. But it's an area of effect, and it's not like something that you can cast in front of you like you can with this, where you can get your group together and just put it down and keep that heal on them really well, along with all the other healing over time you have. This set really plays into that, and the nice thing about it is when you critically heal yourself or an ally, you give somebody a damage shield for 6 seconds. A lot of people say a 6-second shield is garbage from a set because it only applies to one person. Same with Healing Ward, it only applies to one person. But this doesn't give them a heal, this gives them a really powerful shield. So this is really good for that aspect because it keeps people alive, period. The next set I'm using is Spell Power Cure. Now you guys are going to ask why I'm not using something like Olorum or anything. Olorum is a really good set, okay? If you have a person who has controlled healing aspects to them, to where they can put their heals out more controlled than a Nightblade can. It's not that a Nightblade can't. In fact, Nightblades can use Olorum to a very good advantage, but because of the way the Nightblade works, and all their healing over time, Spell Power Cure actually plays into them a lot better because they use a lot of heal over time. And any time that you heal somebody at 100% health, you have a 50% chance to grant them minor or major courage for 10 seconds, which increases their weapon and spell damage by 258. People using Olorum have to directly cast Olorum in a specific area. Nightblades don't have to worry about that because all their stuff is heal over time. Funnel Health, Refreshing Path, and even Illustrious Healing is going to give them that capability to where they can keep that applied to their group really effectively. Now, it only applies to 6 people at a time. I think they did, I thought they adjusted this to 11, but I could be wrong. It could be 12 people in total, but I could be wrong with that. I still think the set is really good, though. Especially, like I said, on Nightblades, and especially when you're doing things like Vet CR +3, there's times where you got to separate your group, and you got to send, like, your groups, one group in one area and another group's in another area. Nightblades play really well as that off healer that goes into goes to the backside, okay? And does the healing there. The reason why they are so good is because they have directional heals, and on top of that, they have so many heal over times, they can take advantage of that greater heal over time for the group. I am running a 3-piece jewelry set with both Spell Power Cure weapons. I'm running a 5-piece Combat Physician on the body with the monster set in heavy and medium. and this is so I can take advantage of that higher attributes for magicka health and stamina. Now you guys are going to probably wonder, how come I have so much magicka when I'm on a Nightblade? Nightblades also get a passive in their siphoning line called Magicka Flood, and this increases their max magicka by 8% while a siphoning ability is slotted. This is why you want to keep a siphoning ability on both bars, and it's one of the reasons why I have it set up this way, is so that this way you can take advantage of every ability the Nightblade has. That makes it an effective healer. But it is not only an effective healer, it is also an effective damage dealer as well. So, I would go over the champion points, but honestly I'm using a standardized setup. So I'm using my standard kind of application here. And as you can see, I have a 12k with 13k. I gotta adjust this real quick, because I don't need that much physical resistance. So I need to adjust this real quick. So I'm going to take this down by 4 points. I think that's all I need to do. Take this up to 8. We will see. Nope, I actually got to take it down a little bit more. And I do, like I said, I have a standard setup that I use for this. So that should be more along the lines of what I need. Yes, it is. So this way, when I cast Mirage, what happens is I go to 13, 14, and when I put down my refreshing path, I go to 19, 19. So I get really good survivability. I don't need a shield because I can apply a shield to myself with my healing. It's not great, but it works. So what I'm going to do now is, like I said, I'm going to take this into a dungeon environment. Now you got to understand, I do not have a group with me to test the full capabilities of this right now. I do plan on testing it this weekend, when I can get a few more people on PTS to test this out. But this is basically my Warlock build that I made recently called the Blood Mage. It works in the same aspect of that, using 2 of the same sets than it used, but in this place I put Bogdan's in the monster set instead of the other monster set that does damage. This way I can play a more effective healer with a lot more heal over times, things and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to face a few groups of enemies to see how well the healing factors work and if we can get Bogdan to proc quite a few times. So I should probably use a potion too, so I can get my recovery up there. Oh, and just so you guys can see, my recovery rate's 2300. I should have done a little bit more to this guy than that, but I wasn't thinking. There we go. Yes, this thing does a lot of damage. Like I said, the Nightblade, the nice thing about Nightblades is they can take advantage of every aspect of both stamina and magicka. And I haven't tested the stamina healer version yet with them, but I'm gonna guess it's gonna work out really well. They're gonna be more of a hybrid healer, but the concept is still there, and it still will work out. Should work out pretty well. So now remember, I'm just trying to get Bogdan's to proc. There we go. We got Bogdan's to proc once, and I'm gonna let this run its course because I want to see if the healing aspect of Bogdan's, if we can get it to show here. So we had 2793 spell damage with a 38% spell critical on that. Not as good as I'd like, but let's see. I'm gonna see if I can get Bogdan's, like you said, to proc again, because
This one does not see the point of such a thing.
Does it not entertain? What more reason does it shape me?
there we go. We got Bogdan's to proc there. It's not healing for too bad. I mean, 3154. Getting hit by something. Oh, there he is. Alright. So, it's not too bad. I mean, Bogdan's procs on an occasional basis, which is fine. You don't need it to proc constantly because, like I said, you got so much other healing going on from all these other abilities, like Illustrious Healing. As you can see, it actually ticks for a decent amount, and if you have your potion going where you have a higher crit chance, it actually heals for, again, a decent amount. You got your Refreshing Path, also heals for a decent amount. You've got your Sap Essence, which heals. Then you got your Funnel Health and stuff. It's a really good setup. I'm not going to lie, it's not the best, but it works out really well. Now, the ultimates that I am using with this is Bolstering Darkness. The reason I'm using this one is it's a really good synergy for the group. It also does that movement speed, reducing movement speed of enemies by 70%. It grants some major protection to your group. And then allies can activate Hidden Refresh, which grants them invisibility and increased movement speed, and it heals them for a lot. So this is a really good group synergy for those oh crap moments. And it's not too costly either. Even on a Nightblade, it's not going to be too costly with the way that they work with resource management and ultimate gen. Warhorn is our other ability that we use. A lot of healers do use this in more end-game aspects, so more trial aspects. So that's another reason why I have this here. If I wasn't running Aggressive Horn, and actually be running the ultimate from here, the Siphon Soul, this is a really good, powerful heal, like group oh crap heal, and it's very good. So, I really like this. And the fact that it gives the 4 seconds of major vitality really helps as well, because it's going to boost the healing done from this heal over time plus the heal over time from other abilities. So it's kind of a nice trade-off. But that's pretty much what I've got. I'm seeing with the Nightblade healer in this update. They work really good with the Bogdan's. Bogdan's works amazing on them. And like I said, depending on what sets you're using, how you're playing the build, Master Staff is still going to be really good for you, because you're going to be able to give resources back to your allies in the sense of stamina, and you're going to get, you know, if you're using the Healing Springs instead of Illustrious Healing, you're still going to get Magicka back for yourself, which will keep you in a little bit better sustain. I'm not going to lie there. I mean, we all know sustain is really important for healers, but with the way the Nightblade works, honestly, I don't see a big issue with it. Now, this character is a Dark Elf from Nightblade. I tried a High Elf, I tried a Argonian with it, and all three of those work really good. Breton still works really good with it. I can't lie about it. Nightblades work really good when they have high spell damage, so Dark Elves and High Elves work really good with them, but because of the way Argonians are set up with their 6% healing done, that allows them to get that greater healing factor. They just lose that DPS aspect by a little bit. And same with other races. So, I will be looking at, again, stamina healing on the Nightblade because of the new changes. And more hybrid healers when it comes to stamina Nightblade. Actually, every class, because every class has that really good ability to where they can play good stamina healers or Magicka healers. So I'm going to be taking a look at all of them in different set combinations. Things like that, because again, there's a lot of things that I'm seeing this update that with the right build you can create a very diverse and unique gameplay structure with your characters depending on what kind of role you want to play. If you want to play a healer type, more group supportive type thing, there is a lot of ways you can do it in this update that are going to be very visceral, or I don't want to say visceral, but there's gonna be a lot of diversity in how you can play a healer in this update, because not only is every class getting affected, and especially the sort change that they're putting in, I want to see how that's going to affect in healing capabilities, because if it winds up being a really good, effective heal for them, I could see how that is going to directly make the Sork a better healer type. I do need to test the healing aspects of the Sork a little bit more with the changes to pets, but that's not as... It's really not as bad as a lot of people are making it out if you build to the right structure. Again, everything in this game is about how you build your character. Classes work better with certain sets, we all know this, and certain combinations of things. And when you can take advantage of certain aspects of the character and your group dynamic, you can actually pull off some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, we all know how crazy some things can get in this game, but you can actually pull off a lot of different, unique builds with a lot of flexibility to them. And this character here, like I said, it's designed to be a healer. But if you're not playing them as a healer and you're running around in the open world, you can play this character as a damage dealer. They have the perfect setup for it. So, because that's the nice thing about Nightblades, is Nightblades are very flexible. Probably one of the best classes, in my opinion, for playing a hybrid, because they have that duality to them that works really good with stamina and magicka. They have a this class has one of the most stamina morphs. The only one that has close to this is the Necromancer. Necromancers are also really great hybrids, and Dragon Knights are also really great hybrids. So you have that really good diversity amongst Dragon Knights, Nightblades, and Necromancers. And other classes can play hybrids as well, but it's their class skill setup that doesn't make them versatile hybrids as much as a Nightblade, as much as a Dragon Knight, and as much as a Necromancer. Wardens can also play very powerful hybrids, but they're more hybrid in the healer aspect than they are as like a hybrid damage dealer kind of thing. I mean, they can hybridize damage dealing, but they're not as good as they could be. So, not as good as a Necromancer, not as good as a Nightblade. And then this comes from lots of testing since elsewhere. I've done a lot of hybrid testing. So yeah. But other than that, I'm not seeing anything really bad. The new Illustrious Healing is really cool. I like the change that they put to it, because you get that really effective capability to keep your group alive with that ability. And it is a little bit better heal over time than the other one. The other one is nice too, the healing springs, because it gives resources back, and it does heal for a decent amount. I'll go ahead and show you guys the difference between the two real quick. I do want to not keep this video going too long, but people are going to ask, so let's go ahead and do this. We're going to respec that one skill. And this is what the other heal looks like. So it doesn't heal for as much, but it gives you resources back. If you can crit heal with it, it actually heals really good. And that's the nice thing about it, is you get that little bit of extra healing aspect from it. And like I said, Nightblades are great healers with healing over time kind of aspect to them. So that's the nice thing about them, is they get a lot of heal over time. They don't have a lot of burst heal, but you have so much healing over time going out that burst healing, Combat Physician work, or Combat Prayer works great for that. So that's another reason why I use this. I'm using the setup with Combat Physician, the Spell Power Cure and the Bogdans in correlation with each other and the way the Nightblade already works. Remember, Bogdans change to how basically whenever you heal a friendly target, you have a 10% chance to summon a totem. If I was in a group of 4 people, you got to remember, every heal over time is going to have a chance of proccing this. Every tick of heal. So with all those different heals I have going out, I have a better chance of supplying my group with heal over times, which is going to proc this set more effectively. It's going to do the same thing with this, and it's going to do the same thing with this. So I'm taking advantage of all 3 of these sets in conjunction to the class's design. So that's why I when I make builds, I take a look at every aspect. I don't just look at the, okay, how am I going to make my group better with sets? I look at how am I going to make this class work really good with these set combinations that we are allowed to use in the game, and how can I take advantage of them with every class? And that's why a lot of times when I do make builds, you'll see I don't always use the meta setup. Like this one, I would suggest using a staff on the back bar. That's the staff from the Master Staff. You could use that, but the problem with using that is the fact that you're giving up your capability of keeping courage on your group, and you don't want to do that. That's why this combination actually works really good. And as you can see on the back bar, I'm using an infused staff with an Absorb Magicka enchant. This helps me sustain while I'm on the back bar. Even if I'm using the Wall of Elements, it will still proc the magic restoration from this back bar. So that's kind of the reason why I do it, or not the Wall of Elements, sorry. That's why I use this on the back bar, is because when I'm on the back bar, I'm actually doing a rotation. So I'm doing light attacks even when I'm back here, so I can get that resource management to proc, so I can get those resources back. And every time I heavy attack, through the duration of the heavy attack, because it's infused, I can get that enchant to proc twice, so I'll get 800 resources back, almost 1,000 resources back on top of my heavy attack return. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't factor in to their builds. And it's not a negative, it's really not. It's just that people have become so accustomed to playing a certain way with certain setups that they're not looking at every aspect of what they can use to amplify a character's ability to play a healer. And that's the reason why in this setup, this works out really well. The combination just is that good. So now, like I said, I have to test this in a group, which most cases I'm only going to be testing with 1 or 2 other people, to be honest with you guys. If I can test with 4 people, I will, but for now I'm only going to be testing with myself and probably a few other guildmates. I am going to be going and testing this character inside of Cyrodiil's PvP area also, or not Cyrodiil's PvP area, but inside the Imperial City. Since we got that testing going on for the Imperial City stuff, I am going to take it in there and test it out to see its effectiveness in that setting as well, because that is another area where healers play really effectively, or you need at least an effective healer to play through that content better, because of the bosses you got to fight in the Imperial City and the sewers to get the tickets and things like that. And having a good healer is going to help out. So I want to see how this will work in there as well. And I know a lot of people are going to wonder, how are you going to set this up to work in PvP? I actually just changed the CP, that's it. I don't worry about having some ungodly amount of crit resistance, because crit resistance actually does get a really high diminished return after a certain point, and it caps as well. So you can only get 50% crit resist, as far as I know. So you can only mitigate 50% of the incoming crit damage. There's no way to block 100%. So, and I don't remember what the amount is that gives you that much. Somebody told me once it was like 3,200 crit resist will put you at 50%. And honestly, a lot of people in Cyrodiil or even Imperial City don't build for high crit. they build for high weapon damage. So getting that, you know, getting a lot of crits isn't going to happen too much. So you can build around that aspect, like I said. But yeah, I'm still kind of interested to see like what other people do this update with their build structures and everything. And yeah, you know, because I again, I don't like stepping on other people's toes, but I do test a lot of different stuff, and usually I stick to. A lot of people say I stick to a formula on my builds, and I do. When it comes to attributes and things like that, when it comes to sets, there is no formula. I pick specific sets for each class because I like to take advantage of different aspects and different ways to play the game. So, but that's again my opinion. That's the way I play the game. You don't have to. You can play however you want. That's the whole point of it. So, and again, that concludes this video, so you guys know what that means. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.